Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Worst. If you're looking at your calendar, you're probably realizing that this is actually in the middle of a big election. And while it was certainly tempting for me to delve into the political realm, as you may have watched from earlier episodes, this isn't the purpose of this show. I am going to be ranting about any number of things, and I'm just not really into the whole political thing for this. I talk about politics, I think about politics, I care about politics. That's not the purpose of the show. So if you want to know about where I stand on stuff, you can ask me on another platform. Good, we've got that covered. Let's dive into this week's episode. In this week's episode, actually I lied a little bit, I didn't lie, I misled you a little bit. This is just a little bit political, so let's see how this plays out. People who are late are the worst. That's right, people. Tardiness is the worst. I am a teacher, as you know, and one of the joys that comes from my job, or did come from my job, was clicking that little box, tardy. When I saw someone wander in the room, I would look at them with deep shame and wonder, what creative excuse am I going to hear next? I didn't tolerate those excuses. It was just great. I was able to assign school service and, otherwise have some sort of punishment for them being late. Now, I understand, before you get all worked up about this, I understand there are absolutely legitimate reasons to be late. There's legitimate reasons. Life happens. Things get out of hand, get out of control that are outside of what you individually can control. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Not really, anyway. I am talking about people who are willfully not making an effort to be punctual. Now, the reason this bothers me, there's a few reasons. First of all, as a teacher, it disrupts my flow. Okay, we got stuff to do today. You walk in late, it kind of messes stuff up in a live environment. Online with the Teams or Zoom meeting, whatever. Okay, I don't even notice necessarily. That's your choice. Not a great one. Still, it's not the end of the world for me. But live, not a fan. Not a fan. I'm kind of a stickler about that. But this applies to other areas. And this is why it's a big deal to me. Because whether it's your job or catching a flight or voting, you kind of knew ahead of time when you needed to do the thing or when you needed to be at the place. It's not that hard with all the information that we have out there to figure out when and where and how and whatever else you need to do. So, my first issue with tardiness or late people is their unwillingness to engage in a very basic math problem. Math, you ask? Yes, math. Let's take a very everyday example of getting ready to go wherever. Okay, so I have a commute to work. It takes roughly, on average, 20 to 25 minutes. I've done it many times, hundreds of times. I know that. Even if I had done it a few times, I could probably look up on Google Maps and it could calculate based on traffic patterns how long it's going to take me to get to work. So, if I know that it takes 20 to 25 minutes to get to work and I need to be at work at a certain time, it is therefore my responsibility to do the very simple math problem of subtracting 20 to 25 minutes from the time I need to get there to the time I leave. And there, I figure out, okay, if I want to be on time, barely, I will leave 20 to 25 minutes before I have to be there. Not that complicated, right? Not that complicated. Similarly, if I need to get ready that morning, I know roughly how long it takes me to get ready. I gotta shower, I gotta eat breakfast, I gotta get dressed, whatever else I might need to do in the morning. I know roughly how long it takes because it's a repeated activity that I've done many times. So, the idea that there's some crazy, regular thing that's gonna happen that disrupts that pattern is silliness. Now, look, you get in a car accident, or there is a car accident that slows down traffic, or there's some other natural disaster or something that is outside of your control. Okay, that stuff happens. Here's what doesn't generally happen. What generally doesn't happen is that all communication is lost. There's a massive accident and or natural disaster that prevents you from making any way, shape, or form being on time and or communicating with the people you're supposed to be there on time for, and therefore you just show up, roll in without a care in the world, shrug your shoulders, sit down, and act like nothing happened. No, people, that is this. People, you should be better than this. You can do better than this. It's a simple math problem. So your unwillingness to do simple math, and they have calculators on your phone, people. It's not hard. You can just, here's the time I leave, minus 25, and then here's what time I need to, get there. Fine, let's go. The second reason tardiness or late people are the worst is because it demonstrates a general apathy or lack of care for everyone around you. Okay? It is basically saying to the people around you that the world, in fact, revolves around you and not them. Because you know what? They showed up on time. They want to get there to learn in the case of teaching or whatever. And they want to get going on the airplane flight or whatever the thing is. But now, because you decide to roll in late and not even really apologize necessarily, we gotta stop, pause what we're doing, catch you up to speed, get you going, and otherwise derail the plan because of your lack of care of your fellow human being. Thank you, no thank you. Almost out of coffee here, people. We're close. This goes into my last piece about this. What really irks me, and this is how it affects me personally and it affects the people around. When people are late, when people are tardy, when people don't care, what they're essentially doing is telling everyone else to put their stuff on hold and wait for them. Because there's a lot of things that happen that have to stop when we have to wait. Okay, it's not like, okay, in certain circumstances, yeah, the airplane's gonna eventually just pull away from the, the tarmac and take off and leave you. That happens, and it should happen, okay? There are consequences for you being late. But nowadays, it seems like there are few, if any, consequences. In fact, with regard to the election, we are now waiting right now. Now, you may watch this later and we probably found out, and we're gonna find out, I get it. But we have to wait. Why do we have to wait? Because people were late. People were late. We knew about this election for a while, a long while, and many states even allowed for mail-in ballots for a while, a long while. I'll take my own case in point, Washington State. We had ballots mailed to us, I don't know, a month before the election, sometime in October, probably. I don't remember when. I get the mail once a week. I got it well in advance. I held on to it for about a week. Okay? I knew I had to mail it in or drop it off, and it took, 5 minutes to fill out that ballot? Now, obviously, I wanted to give it some thought and look through the measures and the initiatives and the candidates and all that. That takes a little longer. I'm saying actually filling out the ballot takes like 5 minutes, okay? So don't tell me you can't spare 5 minutes when you watch a bunch of YouTube videos about cats all day long. You can't spare 5 minutes to fill out that ballot and then find a way to get it in. Some of these states like Washington, we don't even have to put a stamp on the thing. We just pop it in the mailbox. As long as it's postmarked by the day of the election, you're good. However, there are states now that are saying, oh, you couldn't even get it into the mailbox on time. It's okay. You can get it in late after the election. And that to me is just excusing and enabling late people. Look. Elections have consequences. Tardiness has consequences. Being late should have consequences, my friends. And I'm not trying to make light of the election. We're going to move that aside again and get back to the core issue that we're talking about. Tardiness. It's the worst, my friends. It's the worst because it refuses to accept consequences for your actions. Well, I, for one, my friends, am not going to ignore that. I am going to insist that you show up on time, ready to go. Okay? Because if you don't, you're demonstrating to me that you don't care about the thing that you're supposed to be on time for. You don't care about me. You don't care about the other people. And that, to me, says that I shouldn't really invest the same amount of time in you, okay? Now, look, again, I got to say this because I'm a teacher. If there's stuff that happens, if there's life, there's some real significant issues that are contributing to your tardiness, let's have a conversation about that and figure out if we can't help you get to the point where you can be on time. Because look, the real world is not always a friendly place. In fact, many times, as we've seen recently in our country, it is not a friendly place at all. And so as that is true, you probably want to situate yourself in a way that gives you every advantage possible. That's just human nature. Being late is not one of those ways. Being on time, or better, being early, is going to situate you in a more advantageous position in life. Whether it's with your job, whether it's with school, whether it's for your first date with the person you're going to go on and marry. Being on time is good, okay? So, I'm not going to recap. You can rewatch this. But I want to hear your best excuses. In the comments, please give me the best excuses you have ever given or heard for being late. And I want to hear what you think about this. Do you actually think it's legit to be late? And I mean legit on a regular basis. I don't mean the extenuating, crazy circumstances that is outside of your control. I mean like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to hang out, talk to my friends. I got to be somewhere, but you know, whatever. It's cool. I can be a little bit late. I want to know how you think that. Okay, but most importantly, let's hear some of the great excuses. All right, I have many stories of many great excuses. None of them pass muster for me, but we're going to end there, and I want to just pause and thank you for all the comments and feedback I've got so far. We're going to continue this, and hopefully we'll make light of a few things in this less than pleasant world sometimes. Until then, remember, my friends, life is about choices. We'll see you next time.